Okay, guys, you wrote down your desire. You wrote down how your company goes from point A to point B. I want to now walk you through a couple of examples. Again, we're getting into how you raise money as a warrior. It's a little bit different. So one of the things that I just want to talk about before we get into this, again, remember, entrepreneurship is a spiritual exercise. It's a spiritual playground for us, right? Our goal is not to walk the easiest path, but to walk the path that allows the most growth, the most play, the most fun, the best version of ourselves. And so when I talk about raising money, I talk about it not as, I want to get what I can. We want to find what your business actually needs. And so this example I'm going to give you is a small example. So if you're out there and you're running a $10 million company, call me. But just add a 0 to everything we're doing here, and I think you should be fine. Or maybe 2. We'll see how that goes. But I want to give you an example of how a company raises money to build out and grow their business. The questions that are asked by investors, who the investors are, and I'm going to give you some of my secret sauce to how I do it faster. And I'm going to go pretty quickly, so I want you guys to watch it once, consume it, hear me, watch it again, and take notes. Here we go. So I've come up with a company concept called Digital Diamond. Now this company is, they are a maker, this is all fictional, and this is all the names are here to protect the innocent as well as the guilty. So in this fictional company, this company makes a technology plugin that goes into WordPress. So they're sort of like a WordPress website plugin creator, and they found an innovative way to capture data from users that integrates quickly and seamlessly with the back-end CRM system or marketing automation software. Again, all this is fictional. They have been self-funded by 3 engineers, and the CEO of this company is called Fabian Dorian. You're not going to forget that name. So Fabian Dorian is our fictional CEO, so I'm going to talk about how he approaches this process. But essentially, he and his mates did all the development, all the product positioning, everything on their own. And so today, in this fictional example, they're at $127,000 in annual recurring revenue. So that means that they're getting paid between $10,000 and $12,000 a month from their customers, and they are running their business to support themselves. It's a side hustle right now, and now they're wanting to figure out how do we go to that next level. Their customers love them, and they need money for, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's called use of proceeds. It's a concept we're going to come back to. They want to expand the product to meet customers' needs. They want to hire a growth and demand marketer to help them find more customers. And they want for one of the founders to work full-time on the effort. Okay? So they figured out that that's going to actually require $50,000 in capital for them to build this business. I hope you guys are with me. I hope this is exciting as it is for me. 3 employees, right? All side hustlers today. They're doing great. $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue. They've got plugins everywhere, but their customers are asking for more things. And they're working weekends and nights building this. And they want to go to the next level. And so they want to raise $50,000, okay? So what existed before this? So you guys have all heard of a concept called equity. This is essentially how an asset gets apportioned. And so these guys have a Delaware C corporation, which is what many of you will have if you're starting a startup or a corporation. Some of you will have an LLC in the beginning, but essentially they started because they knew they were going to raise money at some point, and the C corporation is the model that a lot of folks use. I'm not giving you any legal advice, but I'm essentially giving you an overview of what most companies in this position have already done. So they have a C corporation, and the founders own something called common stock. Now, common stock is one type of equity security in a company. The other is called preferred shares. And so preferred stock tends to be done in exchange for money. So your investors, your equity investors, tend to own preferred shares, while people who are really putting that sweat equity are owners of common shares. And so we can go into more detail on that later. But the founders own common shares in the company, and their goal is to raise $50,000 that will double the company's revenue. And then from there, they want to potentially raise more money so they can move faster. But they're very much focusing on revenue first. They're not taking a salary. Now, guys, when you're running a company and you're growing quickly, one big surprise is that you're potentially not going to pay yourself at all or pay yourself well. So they're taking all the $10,000 to $12,000 every month and they're putting that back into their servers. They're buying AI software. They're buying things that make their servers run faster. They're actually using outside contractors to buoy some of their content on their website. So that is actually going back into the business every single month, okay? So they're not making money. So this $50,000, actually, if you see, most of it's going toward expanding the products with more development resources, more outside, more servers, growing and hiring a contract marketer, and getting one of the founders to go full time. And this money, right, will last between 9 and 12 months. Why does that matter? Because your investors never want to build a bridge to nowhere. There's two double negatives in the sentence. I hope you love that. I hope my sixth grade English teacher isn't watching this. But essentially, your investors are going to ask you some questions. What's the use of proceeds? What's the current equity structure? How do you want me to come in? And in many cases, right now, people are doing something called Safenotes or convertible notes. And essentially, to really oversimplify it, these are essentially debt that you're taking into the business that allows you to not price your current asset, right? So you take in debt, and then you give the investors, you give them a discount, which is they essentially get a discount on the future preferred share cost, per share cost, and then you tend to give them interest in your business. So you give them, they can earn interest. And so they earn interest, and that interest is often bubbled with the principal added to the discount, and then they convert when you raise a significant financing, or in some cases, a lot of founders like to pay their investors back at this stage. So this is the structure. And so they ask you a couple questions. How long will this money last? What will the revenue be and the milestones to how do we know we've been successful? And so in this case, they want to get to $300,000 in annual recurring revenue, okay? They would also ask you, what are the risks to not only this capital, but to the business itself? So you would say things like, well, my key talent could leave. Tends to happen all the time, right? Unfortunately, in this world of entrepreneurial ventures. That's number one. Number two, we could have customers not love the product, and we could experience something called churn, which is nasty and gnarly. So they would ask that. And then you would also say, well, the other risk is that some competitor might build something just like this. Or what we think we can charge for it, we can't. And so when we think we're gonna get this, in actuality, we only get this. And so there might be a pricing challenge with that. So those are the high level risk associated.